It's your boy. I'm back to make a video. This time it's about earnest money deposit. This is something very important that's looked over by a lot of people. A lot of you guys are getting this wrong, are messing this up, are potentially even losing deals because of it. A lot of you guys are in New Jersey watching this video, and half of our state is an attorney state. So you're more likely to run into problems with this in an attorney state because a lot of these gurus tell you guys you should try to put down a $1 earnest money deposit, $10, $100 max. And I'm here to tell you that I have never been able to get less than $1,000 earnest money deposit unless it was like a super distressed motivated seller that had no equity, so they really had no say in whether they got a deposit or not. But guys, an attorney is going to shut this shit down every time. Any time an attorney sees a contract that says a $1 earnest money deposit, they're just automatically going to tell the seller, don't do business with this guy. They're trying to get over on you. Hopefully you guys should understand what an earnest money deposit is, what it's for, and why it's important. So the earnest money is basically to protect you and the seller. It's to protect you from if you end up not being able to close on the deal, that's what you lose. It should state in your contract that the earnest money deposit can be used as full liquidated damages in the event of a default, so you don't get sued. So you lose your earnest money rather than going to court because you didn't perform on this contract you signed. So it's also to protect the seller in case you can't close on the deal. You just tied up their property for, a month or two. You're out of your inspection period and you didn't perform. They should retain that deposit for all the time that you wasted. It could cause problems in the future if you don't close the deal and then they get a $5 earnest money deposit. Like, that's not really fair. So typically I found in New Jersey, no less than 1,000 are you going to get away with, and sometimes you got to push it closer to 2,000 or even 5,000 because the property values are higher. People aren't stupid. They're not going to fall for that shit. They know that something's not right. If someone came to you and said, I want to buy your property for $100,000, but I'm going to give you $10 now and I'll give you the rest later. Does that sound like someone you want to do business with or someone that you're going to put a lot of faith in? So automatically, if an attorney's involved or not, don't even try that shit. It's just going to make you look bad, and it's going to make them start to question if you're even really a buyer or not. Okay, so Keith, fine. I mean, the reason I needed a $10 earnest money deposit is because I don't have $1,000 to put up. Okay, fine. So here's what you do. You have your buyers put up the earnest money deposit, okay? So if you get a contract signed, you're going to try to find a buyer after that, and you're going to try to get them to sign an assignment contract and for them to drop a deposit. You're always going to have your buyer drop the deposit. You want it to state in your contract, you want it to state in your contract that the earnest money will actually be deposited at the end of your inspection period. So you give yourself a week or two before you have to put the earnest money down. And then if you don't have a buyer after that week or two, you should either re-extend your inspection period or back out of the deal or try to renegotiate or something else, because one thing I'm big on is not tying up the seller and being that stereotypical wholesaler that just ties properties up and wastes people's time. Like, preferably, if you're at the end of your inspection period, you don't have a buyer, you can't put the deposit down, just be honest with the seller and tell them either, listen, we just need more time to do our due diligence and our inspection, or, you can move on and try to, or we just have to back out of the deal. You have to move on. So something this small gets overlooked and it ends up costing people deals, especially when attorneys are involved. And I think I said in the beginning, I actually lost a deal because of this, because we refused to put down a $5,000 EMD, and it was just such a stupid reason to lose the deal. But you live and you learn, and I just think it's important for everyone here to realize what earnest money deposit is for. It's held, by the way, in an escrow account, so you're not actually giving it directly to the seller. But I think the point is, it's important to make sure you're doing things the right way, and I personally don't believe a $1 earnest money deposit to protect the seller in case anything goes wrong. I don't think that's ethical. I don't think it's right. Because let's say that you find a buyer, the buyer drops the deposit, they sign the assignment contract. I mean, you really step out of the way at that point. What if the buyer doesn't do what they're supposed to do and perform? Not your fault necessarily, even though you're the one that brought him in on the deal. But then what does the seller get? They just had all their time wasted. They thought someone was going to buy their house, and then they're going to retain what, $10? Like, does that seem right, guys? So let's not do that. Let's not do people wrong. Let's make sure that we do things the right way and we don't lose deals over stupid stuff because these gurus tell you don't need money to get involved in this business and to do things like $1 EMD. So I don't agree with it. I haven't been able to get a deal doing it that way. But if you guys can, then more power to you. I'm just saying this is how we do it in New Jersey. It's very tough to get away with that shit. So this is how I do it. You don't have to do it my way. But if EMD has been a problem for you, maybe you should adopt my strategy.